Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, guys, welcome back. Happy Friday. I have a great guest coming up here in a minute. They are Soul Activator, and they are Medicine Being. I'm talking about the one and only Isaï Willemse. And you can go to the website, which is sacredstatus.com, sacredstasis.com. When I get Isaï up, this is a terrific guest, guys. So if you want, you can call 631-730-7376, or you can do instant feedback. Isaï has some great topics, and I can't wait to get them to talk about it. So if you want to do instant feedback, go Casey Instant Feedback, and I will ask your question to Isaï, and just give me your name, city or state. If you're bashful, just say anonymous. And if my producer says it's appropriate, I will read it to Isaï, and Isaï will respond in the comfort of your own home, your car, your work, whatever it may be. So it's not every day I get to talk to a soul activator and medicine being. So it's a great day because we have the Isaï Show. And with no further ado, I'd like to bring Isaï to the show. Hi, Isaï.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. My throat's a little bit sore, but doing some medicine work with activating my voice. But other than that, I'm doing really, really good. How are you, Casey?
I'm great, but I want to hear about that. What can you improve? You've been talking a lot, or hopefully not.
Just some vocal toning. So like basically singing, but one notes, and just some throat chakra opening and activation. So it's a little bit. I'm giving it a lot of love, but it's a little bit sensitive. So
I got you. All right. So I won't have a shouting match or anything like that. Why would we do that anyway? I don't know. But
no, absolutely not.
Isaï, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and kind of fill in the gaps? I just told them a little bit about you, so I thought they might want to hear about Isaï.
Yeah, of course. So thank you, Casey, for that beautiful introduction. And thank you to the producers, and thank you to my beautiful host for doing this for me. It's really awesome.
You're awesome.
So my name is Isaï Willemse. Like you said, I'm a soul activator, medicine being, spirit medicine being. I work with all types of people. Does not matter who you are, does not matter where you are. My services can be accessed online. So you do not have to come to me in my establishment to receive the healing that you're seeking. You can be all over the world. So that's a really cool part of what I do. I work with the energetic body. I help with realigning chakras, and I help with realigning energies. And I assist individuals in walking a life path that's very fulfilling to them, whatever that gets to mean, and helping them with integration work to improve their lives.
That's awesome. Hey, Isaï, can you tell me a little bit about, I know we talked a little bit before, but what got you, I know you always wanted to help people, I know that, but in this way, how did you, was there a person that kind of, took you by the hand and said, hey, you got a gift for this. I want to teach you what I know. Or did you just find out by yourself?
Yeah, what a beautiful question, Casey. I wouldn't say it's necessarily one person. I would rather say it's a conglomerate of individuals who've influenced my life, all the way from kindergarten teachers to deep family members, mostly family, growing up in an eclectic belief modality. I grew up around a lot of different cultures, a lot of different religious belief systems. For example, My step-grandfather is a native tribal judge.
Oh, cool.
So I grew up around animism, like believing that everything has spirit and everything is sacred. And also simultaneously, a lot of Christianity and a lot of Judaism. I've celebrated the Passover every single year. Still one of my favorite holidays.
Wow. So
Yeah,
is it like Buddhism is in there within was that your grandfather, you said? The person, the first person you brought up, was that the person who was into, is it kind of like Buddhism? You used another word for it.
Animism.
Animism, yeah. Is that kind of close a little bit?
No, Buddhism and animism are very, very different.
Oh.
Buddhism is more classified as a religion and a belief system, as animism is more a, because it's hard, because a religion is just an organized group of spiritualism. Okay. So animism is more spiritualism, and Buddhism is more of a religion.
I see, but don't they both believe and every life has value? And
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Both of those ideas are prevalent in those studies, or I don't know what you call them, religion studies,
belief systems.
Belief system. Okay, thank you. You always help me out. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, Casey. No problem.
So was it a big family or what?
Yeah, so I grew up, I'm a first-generation American and a first-generation college student, so I'm the only natural-born citizen of my entire family in the United States. My entire family came from the Netherlands. My first language is Dutch.
Wow.
And growing up in a commune, and some would even classify it as a cult, I was very sheltered away from the world. So I was homeschooled the majority of my life, and it really, it's been beautiful, like my entire journey and my entire process. Can you ask your question again, Casey? I don't want to go too far off of it.
Yeah. I mean, I can. I'm just so interested in your life about it was the big family, but then you said maybe you want to save it for another time. But I'm so knocked out by this commune thing. Can you talk about that? Or
yeah,
do you want to go into?
I would love to save that for our later segment.
Let's do that. Let's talk about soul fractals. Can you tell me and the audience what the soul fractal is?
For sure. So, the mind, body, and the soul. The mind psychologically, the body physically, the soul spiritually. All three sides, or the Holy Trinity, as I like to call it, you have all of them. And all of them are beautiful and one cannot exist without the other.
And that's called the fractal?
Yeah. So fractals, for those of you who know what fractals became very well known, I believe it was the 80s, with Dr. Mendelbrot. And what he found was, in a varied mathematical sequence, is you could see that there are repeating patterns in nature. We see this if we look at the tree. The branches and the roots mimic each other and mirror each other. If you keep going, like there's just forks. There's constant forks in a tree, from the trunk to the branches to the twigs to the stems to everything. So everything in the material universe is a microcosm of the macrocosm, and vice versa. They're fractals, basically.
They mimic each other?
Yes, they mimic and they're mirrors of each other. So say, for example, you look at atoms, right? You go to the microcosm of cells and atoms. Mm-hmm. If we go down further and further in science, what we can see is it looks almost exactly the same as if we look up into the stars. There's all these little tiny dots everywhere, and it's very spacious, and it's like we don't really know what an atom is because the electrons are moving so fast. Like we don't really know what space is. Like it's just an exact reflection, as the saying says, as above, so below, as within, so without. It's just a representation. Fractals are a physical representation, and they're actually very beautiful. If you don't know what they are, there's a bunch of YouTubes on it, hours of beautiful fractals. You can Google it. It's beautiful.
Isaï, if I could have your brain for one day, can you just lend it out just for one day? Just so I can understand some of this.
Just one day?
Just
maybe,
one day.
maybe an hour.
Yeah, but you don't want mine, so that's the thing. So, all right, let's... You're just so entertaining. You know so much stuff, and I love picking your brain, so...
Thank you so much, Casey. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I love having deep conversations like this. So, soul fractaling is the concept that we are a part of a greater whole. We come from the earth. Our bodies come from the earth. In essence, we are the earth. We are a fractal of the earth. Now, when it comes to soul fractaling, our essence, if we think of energy cannot be destroyed nor created, it's the same thing with our being. We're all made up of energy. Everything is made up of
Einstein
energy.
said that, right? He said everything, energy is everything, right?
Correct, yes. So what soul fractaling is, because all of us are infinite, multidimensional, multifaceted beings, soul fractals are pieces of ourselves that exist simultaneously, not in this third dimensional plane of existence.
Oh, how cool. This is going to be good. So, I'm going to hold off my question. I'm going to be quiet. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Go ahead.
So, with saying that, does that mean that there's an Isaï somewhere else and there's a Casey maybe somewhere else? Because they copy each other.
Yeah, for sure. So in theoretical physics, they speak of parallel universes. I mean, we see this quote unquote propaganda being advertised in movies, in the cinematic world. If you think of something like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the concept of the multiverse, the concept of multiple universes and multiple parallel realities existing on top of each other, is something that science has greatly considered and greatly looked at for some time. And the reason why they think this is an actual thing is because something like deja vu. We don't know what that is, right? we do not know what deja vu is. But when you experience deja vu, it's like, I've been here before. Mm-hmm. I've experienced this. I have literally seen this happen. Mm-hmm. How would you describe that? You could say that it's time traveling, yes. But for me, what that is, it's soul fractaling. It is being able to tap into different parts of yourself that exist simultaneously everywhere. And what that means is, because we're all part of the same whole, we're able to access literally everything. So say, for example, past lives.
Okay.
If we look at it, excuse me, I'm going to take a sip of water.
Yeah, your throat's you've been doing some work on that. I got you.
Thank you. If we look at, excuse me.
It's okay.
If we look at past lives, say, for example, regression therapy. Regression therapy in psychology is used to go back in the mind through time to readdress specific issues and or traumas to heal from those states. Now, regression therapy has actually been very not looked down upon in the psychological community, but almost looked as wooey, because we see in regression therapy, you can even go back before prenatal stages, before being in the mother's womb.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that gets into past lives, right? Mm-hmm. What past lives are is they are literally, because we are all made up of all of our ancestors. Our DNA is the conglomeration of everyone that has existed before us in our bodies. What I personally feel and have experienced is a past life is you experiencing one of your ancestors' memories.
Oh,
because their memories live on in you, right?
That's awesome.
So this is kind of what soul fractaling is referring to, is that you exist in multiple places at the same time, whether that gets to be past lives, whether that gets to be parallel universes. So,
Isaï, you're definitely one of my favorite guests. I want to tell you one thing that you asked before about deja vu, and I don't know if you've ever studied or heard this before, but I have a neurologist. I have scar tissue concussions and all that stuff, and I used to get a deja vu whenever I get hit in the head, from fighting and all that stuff. Can you, with what you know, does any of that make sense? Where having an injury can bring you into a different dimension. I say knocked into a different dimension. That might maybe mean something in my case. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's definitely a phenomenon like I said earlier, that scientists know very little about.
Okay. It's interesting, though, right?
Yes, but there has been, if I can remember correctly, there has been studies and there has been evidence that shows that people who experience brain injury actually experience deja vu more.
Wow, so I'm not a weirdo. Thank you, and thank you for yeah. I mean, so he was right. He was onto something. That neurologist. You've heard this
For
before.
sure.
Wow. Oh, cool. All right. If you say it, then I believe it.
Well, I mean, they see that. Just so interesting. If we look at it in a Western sense, that scientists see deja vu as the brain making, quote, a mistake and having a moment of confusion, right?
Whoa.
And for me, it's far deeper than that. Like the brain is the antenna for consciousness to thrive. What consciousness is, no one even knows what consciousness is. So when the brain becomes damaged, if the antenna is not correctly signaled or it's not set up straight, the signal you receive isn't going to be as clear as if the brain was not injured, right? So, yeah.
So like a misfire type thing, maybe.
Yeah. That's it. It could definitely be that.
Now, when you have it, do you? I bet you probably write it down and you research and try and see some kind of pattern. I'm sure you take a different approach than the rest of us would.
Yeah. So when deja vu occurs to me, I've come into a place now in my life where if it happens, I know exactly I'm supposed to be in that moment. Otherwise, I would not experience it. If I didn't have that deja vu experience, then what am I doing? Like it's almost more of a validation that I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing in that exact moment.
Okay. All right. Has any of those deja vus, the experiences, like the actual thing, like say, hey, I'm tying my shoes again. This is what I've done. Has any of those have significance that you can come up with? Like this means something. What I'm doing means. I
mean, for sure. So the human mind can make sense of anything, right? Like the biggest things that we as human beings love doing is to make sense out of literally everything
yes,
or nothing.
Yeah.
So whether or not I'm tying my shoe, that could mean either, okay, I tie my shoe, I say my shoe's untied, I go down and I miss crossing the street, which saves my life from getting hit by a bus that I don't see, right?
Cool.
Something like that could be very, very small that I don't see the ripples of my choice. We never do.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is, I guess that would be.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Like you said before, we love to make sense of our experience or something like that. It was a lot more profound than what I just said, but along those lines, right? I mean, we always try and do that. We try and have it make sense when really sometimes we just don't know.
And that's totally okay, right? Like science is very good. And in the Western sense, we are so curious. Human beings are very curious creatures. The Western science system loves to be able to just really rip everything apart, which is very masculine. It's very analytical. It likes compartmentalizing things and putting them into very finite boxes, giving them labels, giving them stickers, putting them in their place, which has a meaning and it's very, very good. But if you do that too much, you really miss.
You miss out, yeah.
You miss the forest for the trees. You miss the big picture if you're focused too much on the leaves.
Love it.
Right?
Yep.
So it comes to a place of it's not bad that we're curious creatures. It's very, very beautiful, but we have to be able to have that feminine, intuitive aspect too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you got to get the best of everything, right? Isaï, I'm always excited to hear you come on. I want to talk about the soul retrievals, and I want to talk about soul activation, but I just got to take a quick break, okay? And then we come back. Can you teach us about that?
Yes, please. I'm super excited, Casey.
Me too, my friend. All right, guys, we will be right back with Isaï.
Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure. Aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan Owner's Manual for proper use.
Seeking a more fulfilled life? Desiring to step into your power? Hello, my name is Isaï Willemse, creator and founder of Sacred Stasis. Soul activator, energy healer, and sound alchemist, I assist individuals in remembering and reclaiming their power, no matter who they are. Visit our website, sacredstasis.com, and fill out our form for a free consultation, or give us a call. Let's take the steps to transform and heal your life together.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, guys, we're back on the Isaï Show. Welcome back, Isaï.
Thank you for having me, Casey.
Well, I love having you. You're giving us a lot to think about here. So let's go back to soul retrieval. We talked about the soul fractals and what soul fractaling is. Now, how does that lead us to soul retrieval?
For sure. So there's a woman by the name of Sandra Ingerman, and she has a book, which is absolutely beautiful, called Soul Retrieval, Mending the Fragmented Self. In this book, she discusses the powerful healing collaboration of both psychology and shamanism. In this book, it explains the effects that trauma and how it causes parts of the soul to leave, or what's called soul loss.
Soul loss.
Correct. And in psychological terms, you can consider this to be as disassociation.
Okay.
Someone can dissociate whenever they experience trauma. When this happens, a part of our vital essence of who we are separates from us in order to survive the experience by escaping the full impact of the pain.
Got it well.
We see this primarily with DID, dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as MPD, or multiple personality disorder. And this is a trauma response that has occurred so intensely that the personality of an individual and the soul literally almost, parts of, you need to protect yourself. So those parts of the individual leave as a survival response. As the soul loss occurs, and it only occurs if one does not have the proper tools to work with the trauma. And most individuals do not. And especially children. Most children, that's where you experience in your very young age. That's where most of us experience our heaviest traumas.
Is that basically like turning your back on what's uncomfortable, what you think is going to hurt you? You just pretend it's not there. Maybe you just turn your back on it.
I mean, yeah. So some people will have different ways of handling stress and trauma, and none of them are bad unless you're directly hurting yourself or other people. So say, for example, if you are running away from your problems with filling yourself with drugs or alcohol,
right,
that could be considered a little bit more detrimental, right? But for each person, the way that they handle their own trauma is unique to them. So it's really interesting because, say, for example, people who say, and I've seen this too, people who say, I don't feel like myself, or I don't feel like myself anymore, or I don't, statements of disassociation for me is a representation that something has happened in the individual's life that they needed to protect themselves and they're desiring to get back. Otherwise, they wouldn't say these things that, like, I don't feel like myself. Because with that statement, that's a reverse of statement of, this is what I want back into my life. I want to be myself, right? So,
so you're protecting yourself in a way. I know you and I share a lot in common as far as music goes. But there was this gentleman, I think his name was Jack Kerouac, I believe.
Kerouac, yes.
And this guy from Sun Volt, Jay Farrar, he wrote a whole album because I guess the guy drank himself to death and died in some cabin or something like that. And what you just said is in this what I remember this lyric. He said that I found out at an early age I can make anything I play disappear and cease to exist if I turn my back to it. And what you said about someone taking alcohol or someone taking drugs to preserve themselves was just about what that that whole book was about. You nailed it.
Wow. And can you tell me the book one more time? I like it in new lists.
Yeah, it's called Jack Kerouac. And they did an album with Jay Farrar, which was called, I think it's called One Last Move and I'm Gone, One Last Move and I'm Gone.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I know. We have a lot of the same stuff in common, but yeah, that right on topic there. Now I know we're getting out of time here, but I got to know what the soul activation is to know if I know the other two. I got to know what this is.
For sure, yeah. So to finish on the retrieval, during the soul retrieval process, basically what happens is a trained shaman typically moves into an altered state of consciousness to travel outside normal states of perception to retrieve lost parts of the soul. And what that gets to look like is either through breathing, through mantra, through music, through dancing, through plant medicine, is the shaman moves with the client to access these lost parts of the self and then retrieve them to become whole. How that moves into soul activation is, so this term is what I coined as the work that I do. You could consider it to be paralleled with life coaching. Soul activation is extremely subjective to each individual client, as their needs are all very different and what they desire. Mm-hmm. Through soul activation, one can remember and reclaim their divinity as powerful creators. And then the journey is limitless, completely limitless. Once one remembers how powerful a manifestor they are and how they both consciously and unconsciously create their reality, they will be able to do almost anything, which taps back into our last segment about temporal manipulation and the power of manifestation.
Wow. That sounds awesome. I mean, that sounds like a show right there, just about soul activation. I mean, there's so many things I want to know about that.
For sure.
It goes so fast with you. Hey, Isaï, let me give you my grandmother's words here. Isaï, you have the floor. Anything you want us to think about or ponder until next time, I definitely will be thinking about some of these ideas that you were talking about. Pretty cool. You're always awesome when you come on.
Thank you so much, Casey. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So something for the listeners that I would suggest to do as we're talking about a lot of different things today, talking about regression therapy, talking about how we're multidimensional, soul retrieval, soul activation, soul fractals. Whenever you feel stress, the body stores it. So something that I would suggest that you do, even if it's something small like stubbing your toe, losing your keys, or something that is beyond that, because the body keeps score, doing something like walking, going to the gym, dancing really, really helps, whether or not you want to be alone or just shaking it out. That literally will help your psychological and spiritual bodies release the stress, so that way you can move throughout your day and throughout your week in a more joyful state of awareness. So that way you don't have to hold on to these stressful moments. So just a brief and a very beautiful reminder of tap into your body, whatever that gets to mean for you, and especially whenever you're stressed. For those of you who would like to know more information or who I am and what services I offer, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and also my website, Sacred Stasis. That is SCAREDSTASIS.com. Or you can shoot me a text or give me a call at 801-410-0005.
Isaï, I wish you have the best weekend and holiday, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say next. I'm a huge fan, and I'm sorry I didn't get to everyone who wrote in. I will hold on to your questions and comments. Isaï, have a great week, and can't wait till I talk to you again.
Thank you so much, Casey. Bye-bye.
All right. Be right back, guys. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs. Speaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.